Good morning. What an amazing morning it's been this morning already. I'm waiting for Nikki at the moment. She's been into an appointment this morning, but God really spoke to me this morning through Hebrews 13:13. And as we went on the prayer walk this morning, I just really started to pray and just ask God to show us things. And I love it when you just allow God to speak into your life, and just to reveal stuff to you. It's been really, really good. And he's done just that this morning yet again. It's just been so beautiful having that time with him. I love spending time with the Father. And so with regards to Nikki's in his appointment, but um, I really, really felt God speaking to us about when you're chasing a dream, and a vision. If there's any of you out there, and I know there's many of you that have shared your dreams for ministry, for business, for your communities, for your church, all that stuff, and God, when God shares a vision, it can be a challenging path, And I was thinking about Nikki this morning. Now, she's just such an amazing woman. My wife is such an amazing and a beautiful woman, and she spends a lot of time messaging, encouraging other women, building them up, and also just checking in on them, to listen to them, just asking them, how are you? How's it been? How's things going? She never stops asking. Now, I would say, if I'm brutally honest, she probably speaks into other people's lives tenfold in the amount of messages she gets back. How many people she gets calling her and saying, how are you? How's things going? Is small, and those few that do, we really appreciate you, really do. And I know that, but there's not many that do, in fairness. But she pours out and pours out continuously. She really does. And she's an amazing, amazing woman. And it really got me thinking when I was reading Hebrews 13:13. I'll get to that scripture in a minute. But when you're chasing a dream, when you're chasing a vision, when God's placed something on your heart, sometimes it can be a lonely road. It really can be a lonely road, And you've got to be prepared for that when you're chasing a vision. Don't expect it to be all community and family all around you, supporting you, walking with you, because it quite often isn't. There's a beach in Wales, one of the first beaches we discovered when we moved to Wales, called the Three Cliffs. Sure, it's Three Cliffs. Three Cliffs it's called, but I remember when we first visited it, we went there, and you get to the top, and there's these big grass car parks, and beautiful views up there. You can't see the beach from up there, but amazing views. It's stunning. And there's this lovely shop at the top, a coffee shop stroke ice cream shop. They do amazing ice creams, beautiful coffees, sweets and treats, and they've got all benches parked outside, and they're lovely benches. You can just park outside and sit outside. In fact, you could spend the whole day just sitting there. You could just spend the whole day there and not go to the beach, And in order to get to the beach, you will go out this car park, and you have to walk down this long single track road. There's a couple of nice houses either side, but as you do, you go down this pathway. When you go down into this dip, you go all the way down, and then see steps going down, and a lot of them are unstable. They're not very good for disabled people. It's not very able-bodied to get there. But you go down these steps, and you have to go through these. It's almost like a tree-lined path, and when you go down, it can be quite cold, and it's like a tunnel of trees as you walk through. Quite uneven, quite stable, quite taxing on your legs, And it's a single track path, so as you're walking down there, you have to walk on your own, and anyone who's with you has to walk behind you or in front of you. You can't walk side by side with anyone, But as you walk down this track, you go down, and then you go up these steep hills, which can be tight on your legs. And sometimes you can think, oh, is this worth it? It's better be worth it when we get there, And when you get to the bottom, you start to, the muddy ground and the stony ground can sometimes start to become a bit sandy on top of the stones. And then you go over this big sand dune, and as you get to the top of this sand dune, I remember as your vision comes over the top of the sand dune, suddenly you see this beach, this beautiful vision, a stunning vision. You've got this beach is about, I don't know, quarter of a mile, half a mile wide, about half a mile to a mile from the beach to the sea. It's just pure golden sand. You've got sand dunes, cliffs around. It's just a paradise. It's this amazing, amazing paradise, you know. It's just absolutely beautiful. But you have to take this trek down there. You have to take this lonely, dark route down there. It would be so easy to stay at the coffee shop and enjoy the ice cream and enjoy it and just sit at the bench. That initial bit would be so easy to stay there and not get to the beautiful paradise. Does that make sense? Without taking the trek, it's quite hard to leave the ice cream and the coffee and all the delights to actually go down this trek to get to the real reward, the real beautiful reward. I want to read you Hebrews 13. It's actually 13, verse 11 to 13. Let me get my glasses on, sorry. So, and it says, for the bodies of those animals whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burned outside the camp. Therefore Jesus also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered outside the gate. Therefore let us go forth to him outside the camp. Jesus is outside the camp, bearing his reproach. And so they brought the animals into the temple to make the sacrifices. But once they made the sacrifices, they burnt them outside the walls of the city because the stench, the smell was so rotten and bad. They took them out and they would burn them outside, so the smell would be burnt. That would be burnt outside the camp. And in the same way, when Jesus was sacrificed for you and my sin, when he paid the price for the life we get today, he was sacrificed. He was taken outside the walls of the city and sacrificed, almost because the stench was so bad. The weight of the world's sin was on him, was so bad. He was taken outside of the camp, you know, to be sacrificed. And sometimes when you're on the route, sometimes when you're on this journey, chasing a dream, when you're chasing a ministry, when you've got a vision that God's given you, you're going to have to go. You need to go you've got to do it with Jesus. You cannot build it on your own. You cannot chase, you cannot chase the crowds and the rewards or the names or whatever it might be that you want to chase to get to where you want to be. The only person you need to chase, the only person you need to follow is Jesus. But you need to, sometimes you're going to need to go with him outside of the camp. Sometimes you're going to have to go to a place that smells. Well, they burnt the sacrifices, the stench, they say, was awful. But sometimes you might have to go to places where it doesn't smell right, you know, where there's family aren't going to understand you. Maybe a church family won't understand you. I don't know. But maybe certainly the people closest to you, relatives sometimes, won't understand your vision. They won't get it. And your vision to them is going to be like a foul stench. It's just they're not going to get it. And they're going to think, you're crazy. What are you doing this for? Why go that far, you know? You may have to go to a place where it's unpopular, where you're unpopular, you know? You may have to do that. But you have to keep focused on that vision. Well, if God has said it, then you need to just trust in him, you know. We need to go outside of the walls of religion sometimes, you know. We can be chasing God so much, we get religious. You know, I've noticed that even with a grace message, grace is about, grace doesn't give us permission to sin. Grace is what gives us the power to break sin. But sometimes people who don't understand the full grace message, even then, you can become unpopular. However, also, when we chase the message of grace, sometimes when we're walking in the message of grace, we can get religious about grace. Do you know what I mean? Grace takes us out of religion, but we can get religious. We can get so focused on grace that actually we become religious about it, and we actually stop loving people, stop caring about people. Like I said about Nikki, she's calling so many people, caring, loving, encouraging, building up, but doesn't get it in return, you know. And some people are so focused on their own grace walk that actually they lose the grace. You know, it's crazy. So are you willing to go outside the walls? Are you willing to go outside the walls? You know, when I was thinking about that pathway down to the beach, it really spoke to me about when you look in Psalm 23, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. It doesn't say the valley of death, it says the shadow of death. It's just a shadow. It's not, it's just the Lord is our protection. You know, he's a rod, a staff, they comfort us, he protects us, no weapon formed against us will prosper. All these promises are so true, and that's why it's the shadow of death. We walk through the valley of the shadow of death. It's a pattern. When you look at a shadow on the wall, it may look like the person, but it's not the person, it's just a shadow, it's just a reflection, a pattern of them. And the same when we go through the valley of the shadow of death, it's just a pattern of death. It's not, it's just there to frighten, to scare, you know. And so as we go through that valley and we walk towards the fulfillment of the vision that God has given us, we're going to go through that valley, you know. But his rod, his staff, his correction, his guidance, it's all, do you know what I mean? It's going to be there, but we have to trust that he is with us, that goodness and mercy will follow us, you know. And also it got me thinking about Jesus. When Jesus left the ice cream parlor, he could have stayed at the ice cream parlor and the cafe, do you know what I mean? But he didn't. He came down to us. He came down to earth to bear our sin, to walk that valley, to walk that route down to the beach, that lonely path. And as I was thinking about that lonely path, in no way do I equate this as being the same, but as you walk down the path to the beach, I just really just saw the vision of the loneliness that Jesus had to walk when he walked to Calvary, carrying that cross with the people either side of him on the road, some spitting, swearing, shouting at him, maybe even throwing stones at him as he walked, carrying with the skin stripped off his back. That lonely path he took, but for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. The joy set before him. He knew the beach was there. He was God. He was a God in the flesh, but he saw the beach. He saw the end vision. And whatever path you're walking, he sees your vision. He gave you your vision. He gave you the vision that the whole thing, the whole reason you're doing what you're doing, the whole reason that you're not sleeping at night because you're thinking, what if this works? What if this dream I've got actually works? What if it comes to pass? He knows that. He's seen it. He's given it to you. It's his that he placed in your heart, you know. And yeah, I just really want to encourage you that if you're on a lonely path, if you're feeling negative about it and you're just thinking, oh, I used to get really excited about the dream, then it's completely normal, you know. And sometimes we can get sucked into the excitement of I don't know, maybe promotions in your job, maybe the work promotions are going so well, you've been given a managerial role, or you've been given a new job that feels secure and stable, and you've got an income that's providing for your family. You're thinking, do I really want to give this up for a dream that might come to pass? You need to know. So you just need to know if it's God, if it's a God vision. This morning when we were walking, God gave me a vision. He reminded me of a dream that I had 20 years ago. 20 years ago it must have been. I kept having this repetitive dream when I would wake up. And I'm not going to, I don't want to repeat the dream because I don't want anyone praying against it. I just don't want, it doesn't, the dream was a personal dream. It doesn't need to, it's nothing bad, but it's nothing, it was an amazing dream. And it was this vision of just me having breakfast with my wife, and I wasn't married at the time. And then when I met Nick, she was the one in the dream. But I had this, it was a repetitive dream that kept happening. And on the walk this morning, and I was thinking, Lord, this is a tough road, you know. And he just showed me that vision again. It just kind of forgot all about it. It just came straight into my mind. And I just really felt the Lord speaking to my spirit saying, I've shown you this. I've shown you this. Just keep going. Just keep the path. Keep the path. Just felt that it's so close. So close. And I want you to be the same, you know, I really do. So have a beautiful, blessed day. But if God speaks to you about your vision, get a notebook. Like I've got this one here. Look, get a notebook. Everything God says, that you write it down in the book. You know, this isn't my actual notebook, by the way. My other one I keep indoors with that me and Nikki have got it. So it's always there together, that when we get visions and dreams, that we can write it in there. Everything God's ever spoken to us about our vision for the retreat is written in there. The prayer garden Wales, it's written in there. And every time we have a encouraging word, we write it in there, we pray over it. And I want you to do the same. Please, please don't give up on your dream. That vision God's given you, please do not give up. Please don't, because I promise you it'll be worth it. When you come up over that valley to that final sand dune and you come over and you see that amazing, stunning vision, you're going to say, yeah. And you'll look to the side and Jesus will be there right beside you, as he is all the way. So have a blessed day. God bless you. It's a beautiful day. Every day is a beautiful day. And so enjoy. Have a great day. Bye.